Hello everyone, welcome to the SI2 steering team training for Cycle 2 and Cycle 3 schools. The topic of today's video is the Goals Update. My name is Sue Reynolds and I am president of the American Student Achievement Institute. So as always, we'd like to start this video for SI2 steering teams with some odds and ends. The first thing is we wanted to make sure that our schools were aware of this memo that came to superintendents and Title I program administrators on December 22nd. The memo states that the assist template is no longer required for any Indiana schools, including focus and priority schools. So the memo explains that in October, after feedback from the field and other state agencies and the State Board of Education, that it became clear to the department that they needed to scale back the full launch of the requirement of assist. And subsequently, the memo explains that the funding source and contract for assist was denied by the state budget agency. That was for several reasons. And that also the State Board of Education failed to support the Data Reporting Committee's recommendation of the use for assist for only the focus and priority schools. So we talked about that last month, how that proposal that was made to the board did not get a second. That means that our SI2 schools, all of our SI2 schools, including the focus and priority schools, are able then to use our process and our template to create their school improvement plan. So again, we just wanted to put this in writing for you that from us, Title I focus and priority schools may submit to DOE the 2015-16 school improvement plan that they developed through their enrollment with ASA's SI2 process during last year, the 14-15 school year. So this is the same process that SI2 schools have always used for the past several years, where you'll create your school improvement plan online using the SI2 system, then download the PDF and then upload that to DOE. So no changes. And now all of our schools, including the priority and focus schools, can use that our system and upload the product of their work with us to DOE. So okay, so I think many of you will find that as good news, so that you don't have to retype everything into a different template, a second template. So, and thank you on behalf of all of our schools, to the schools that were active in helping the State Board of Education and DOE understand the quality of their work with us, and that how you wanted to be able to use our template as your school improvement planning template. Okay, let's see. And then also we wanted to let you know what our continuing recommendation is to DOE and the State Board of Education. We're starting to hear others voice this same opinion, so that's kind of nice. It's no longer just us. So what we're recommending is that either the Department of Education or the State Board of Ed create a list of state-approved technical assistance providers like Advanced Ed, like ASA. It could also be like a school district, but they would create a list of state-approved technical assistance providers for school improvement planning. The criteria that we're recommending is that providers be required to document that they have a sound improvement process, that they have sound leadership development components, not only training for the leadership team, but also coaching and mentoring as the team works, timely on-call support, and then also that the provider has the capacity for electronically transferring SIP components to DOE on behalf of the schools served. Then the second recommendation that we're making is that these approved technical assistance providers be allowed to transfer the components of the school improvement plan to DOE electronically on behalf of their schools. That way schools wouldn't have to enter data twice. And we think this is really a win-win. It gives the schools choice to work with the technical assistance provider that is the best fit for their school. We think it'll improve, by working with these providers, we think it'll improve the school improvement plan quality. And then also DOE will have statewide data to inform state-level decision-making. We think that's really important, just like it's important for our local schools to have data to inform your decisions. We think it's important for DOE to be able to have statewide data about school improvement planning to inform their decisions. So we think this would be a win-win, and we'll continue to advocate for this model. Okay, one other announcement. We wanted to talk about the Indiana Conference on Learning. With all of the kind of question marks this year with school improvement planning and what template was going to be used, we decided to transition, that this would be a good time to transition our conference to a fall conference. So we have not yet picked a date for the conference, but we will let you know when that conference is going to be in the next several weeks. But it will be a fall conference rather than a February conference. So just wanted to give everybody a heads up that we are going to transition to a different time of year that we think will work better, both for our schools and the community organizations that our initiatives support. Okay, also just a reminder that the small learning community, where you can further participate in discussions with us about today's video or the video that your council is watching, that small learning community will be on January 7th. So that's the place where you're able to ask questions and participate and listen to questions that others are asking. So don't forget to register. It's at our address /SI2. Okay, so let's look at facilitating this month's discussion, which is to update your goals. I'm assuming that let me go back for a second. I'm assuming that you have already watched the council video, so you understand that at this point in time we're starting to create next year's school improvement plan. And the question is, given who we are now and the updated student data that we have, what should our goals be for next year? You may decide that you want your goals to be exactly what they are right now, or you may have reached some of your goals and you want to omit them, or you may have new goals. Also, I know the question is going to come up, how do we create these goals when we don't have the updated state testing data released publicly by DOE? When you open your achievement reports, achievement data reports in the SI2 system, you'll note that there's still no state test data from DOE in there, and that's because the test data is not public yet. So we've decided that rather than just halt the whole process, we'll ask you to create your goals for your school improvement plan based on the data that you do have available. So you do have first semester report card data. You do have maybe other testing, Terra Nova or NWEA from the end of last school year. So there's lots of data that you do have available. We think that you can use to create the goals in your school improvement plan. If you have goals that are specific to ISTEP or end of course assessment, you'll kind of have to guess on those goals for right now. We're asking your council to give you the best input they have based on the data that you have available now. Then, when the data does become available publicly, we will be able to drop that data into your school's achievement data reports. So, and at that point, the steering team will be able to kind of review everything real quickly and make sure that your achievement goals are really the ones that you want to have now that you've looked at your updated ISTEP and then, of course, assessment data. Of course, the schools, individual schools, receive that data before it becomes public on DOE's website. So while we don't have access to it because the data is not public, your school, does have access, and you are able to share that data with your council yourself. So even though you don't have that data available in the SI2 online system because the data is not publicly available on DOE's website, as soon as that data becomes available to you and you're allowed to share that data locally, you can share that data with your councils. So just wanted to talk about that for a moment. Okay, so now let's look at facilitating this month's discussion. Let's start out with the student body discussion. This is very similar to the discussion from last year. What you'll do is you'll add goals to this data prompt sheet. We would suggest that you add the goals that receive the most agrees during the council discussion. And then we're breaking the students into small groups. We're asking them individually to check the goals that they think would be good for the schools to work on. And then we're in number 4 there, we're asking the students to discuss the goals that they thought were important and then to come to consensus with their small group on which 1 to 3 goals they would recommend to be included in your school's school improvement plan. Again, we believe that when the students are involved in setting the goals, that when you start to implement your interventions or strategies, they'll understand why you're doing the things that you're doing. So, okay. So let's look at the process page. And let me get to that real quickly. Okay. So on the process page, I'm going to scroll down to January. And the video for the council that we just recorded a little bit ago will be posted right here. So when you open up the process page, this will be hot. And then the steering team video that we're recording right now will be here. And then to participate in the live briefing and Q&A or the small learning community, you would click on enter. And that would allow you to register for that. And then after we have that, we'll, if the technology works well, which I assume it will, we'll post that, that video here. Okay, so the next parts are getting the council discussion going. So you would click here to open the council discussion, same process as if you've used in past months. So I'm not going to go any deeper into that. Monitoring the discussion, you would click here and to monitor the discussion. And remember, we really do suggest that you monitor that discussion. You want to make sure that all of your different stakeholder groups are participating in the discussion, including all of your teachers, your council members from community organizations, especially economic development, in your businesses. But again, we want everybody to engage in supporting these goals when your plan goes into place next year. So we want to make sure that we've given everybody an opportunity, and people have taken advantage of that opportunity to have input in what your goals are. So please monitor the council discussion to know who's participating and who's not. Don't forget you can send out invitations to participate as many times as you want to. So that's all available on the monitoring page. Then you would enter the council discussion summary, enter the student body summary, and then you'll do some updates. So once you have consensus on what your goals need to be for next year, then you'll begin by updating your PAIs. So I'll click on that just as a reminder of how that works. So these are your priority areas for improvement. We used to call these broad goals. They're very broad areas that your school is working to improve. So your current PAIs will be in system already, so you can delete them or you can edit them, or you can add a new PAI. So if I click that, just to kind of to refresh your memory, you would identify the focus of the PAI, the subject, what grade levels it's for, what subgroup or improvement focus it's for, the rationale for leading you to believe that this is an area that you should be working on, and then if this PAI is aligned with any external expectations, such as English language arts or graduation rate. So that's how you create a PAI, and then of course after they're created, they'll appear like this in your school improvement plan. So PAI, this school has, demo school has 2 PAIs. The first one is for student proficiency or pass rate. It's for math, 7th grade, and the kids in the bottom 25%. So, and then it spells that out in more detail underneath. So, okay, so the first thing you'll do is you'll update your PAIs or your broad goals. Remember those as broad areas. And then you'll update your SMART goals, which we used to call specific goals. So these fall underneath the PAIs or underneath the broad goals, and they're very, very specific goals. So you can see that I have a tab for each of my PAIs. PAI 1 is student proficiency in math for 7th graders in the bottom 25%. And you can see here's my first SMART goal. So the first SMART goal is to increase the achievement in mastering ratios standard on ISTEP. And then here's the student group. It's 7th grade and all students in 7th grade. So I can decide, you know, all of my 7th graders are already mastering ratios because of the interventions that I'm putting in place this year. So I don't need that as a SMART goal next year. And you can take it out. Or you may decide, you know, this is a great goal for our 7th graders, but now we've decided we want to back up a year and really get our 6th graders to do this. So you can go in and edit that goal. And then the other thing you can do is you can add a SMART goal for this PAI. And so here's the PAI up here again. And so then this is just kind of a checklist to help you create your SMART goal. Is this a goal for a class like the class of 2020? Is it for a grade level like 7th grade? And then the demographics of the student groups that you have that goal for, what the benchmark is, what your historical, not hysterical, what your historical data has been, and then your data targets, and your vision data, ideally what percentage you would reach the benchmark. And then again, if this aligns with an external expectation, we want to make sure that you've checked that. Okay, so I'm going to go back up and close that out. Okay, and then when you've finished creating all of your SMART goals for your first broad area, then you'd look at the second broad area and add SMART goals for that one as well. Okay, so that is updating the SMART goals. Now we have two tools in here to help you look at whether or not your SMART goals and your PAIs make sense. So the first one is just a report that we created that kind of summarizes all of your work. So it says, okay, here's your first PAI, and then it will list the SMART goals under it. So, and we're just wanting you to kind of look and say, okay, if we hit these SMART goals and we accomplish them, is that going to impact this broad area? Do we really have everything in here that we want? So that's one tool we've created. And then the other tool is we've created a report that lists all of the external expectations for your school, and then looks at, do we have goals that will address each of those external expectations. So when you click on that, this will be the external expectations will be different for each school, depending on if you're a priority school or focus school or title school. There's a different set of expectations. Demo schools, not any of those, so that page that I just went to is not set up for demo school. But when you log in and click this this report, it'll show you all of the external expectations for goals for your school, depending on if you're a focus or priority or a title school or whatever, and then it will tell you if you've met the requirements. If you have a goal in there that will meet the external requirements. So, and again, if this is all customized, let me just scroll up real quickly. This is all customized based on how you answered the SIP uses questions. So if you said you were a priority school, then it's going to drop in the priority goal requirements, and etc. Okay, so then after you've done that, we've just put a step in that has said, okay, now that you've looked at those 2 reports, do you want to edit any of your SMART goals? And if so, this just takes you back to the SMART goal page where you can do that. And then finally you submit. I wanted to also, before we close, make sure that we've looked at the rubric items. These again are customized based on the external expectations for the school. But you can see this time we have rubric items for your council discussion summary. We have rubric items for your student body discussion summary. And then the 2 areas that are most important are the priority areas for improvement, or your PAIs. So are there 2 or 3 PAIs present? The PAIs target academic areas that do not meet state or local expectations on state testing and student growth and student proficiency, as indicated by the school report card from DOE. The focus area, subject, and grade level have been identified for each PAI. And then some of these you can see they're required by just Indiana rules and regs for all schools, and some are specific to priorities or focus schools or Title I schools. So this will be different for every school. So, and then also we have a set of rubric items for both the PAIs and the SMART goals now combined. So each PAI is supported by 1 or more SMART goal, and then the rest of these are kind of for SMART goals. A grade level or class has been identified for each SMART goal. The student group demographics have been identified for each SMART goal. So the specific things that we're looking for are identified in here. And again, this is customized. So you can see for this one, at least 1 SMART goal exists for a student group that has not met AMO or indicates an achievement gap. And this is something that is in Indiana rules and regs, but is also meeting a Title I requirement. So, okay. Yeah, so that's kind of the using the process for this month. And just a couple of other notes. First of all, before your council can enter into this discussion, don't forget that you have to have your 2015-16 goals in place so that we can update them. All of our SI2 schools have those goals in place for the schools that we've approved, so that should be no problem. And then also remember, please, that if you are deciding to have a face-to-face discussion instead of an online discussion, you'll still need to open the discussion online. So in that process page where it says open the discussion, you'll still need to open the discussion in order for all the other parts of this step to turn on. So make sure that you've opened that discussion. Okay, just looking ahead, as we're creating your school improvement plan for next year, right now we're updating your goals. Next month we'll update your root causes. Then in March we'll update your interventions. And then in April and May, we'll help you prepare to implement those interventions. So as always, if you need help, please call Tina. She's here for you. And remember our 5-second rule, which Tina has changed to the our 5-minute rule, which Tina has changed to the 5-second rule. And that is, if you're confused for more than 5 seconds, you are required to call Tina. So her phone number's on the screen, there's her email address, and she is eager and willing to help you. I encourage you to think of her as a member of your school improvement team. I mean, she is there for you. So as she also will be reminding you to turn in submissions to us, and she'll be reviewing your submissions just to make sure that you're doing high quality work. So, okay, so I think that's it. Again, I appreciate everybody's participation in SI2, and look forward to talking with you in the small learning community discussion on Thursday. So, okay, thanks so much.